noget lys til dig her. This is Michael Delane of the Copenhagen Voice. I am still at this energy exhibition in Experimentarium and looking at some screens where it's supposed to tell about the climate of the future. With me is Poul Katler, who is an expert, at least on these machines, if not on the Poul, I read the other day that some people believe that with the present level of CO2 in the atmosphere, it will take 1,000 years before we get back to a normal level because of the build-up that is occurring all the time. Is this true? Or?
Definitely, I do not believe that we will return, to what was standard level. What we can do right now, politically and for every one of us, it is to take part in the efforts that we are not changing the world more than we will definitely is going to change it. A 2 degrees lift in global temperature is inevitable, I think. But as EU says in their most optimistic moments right now, I think yesterday, I think they made an initiative again to promote this 2 degrees scenario. In their most optimistic corner, this is what somebody says can happen without very dramatic changes for our natural environment and human life. 2 degrees. And I have to say, I think it is optimistic. If you ask the direct experts, I think they will agree with me.
That's really be optimistic.
It's quite optimistic. When we try the exhibit here right in front of us, you will see that we have you can choose among 3 scenarios, and the best looking one, we have even been so hard that we made it into a green color. The most green scenario is exactly this EU 2 degree scenario. And some of my audience, they say, oh, you must have made a mistake here. Because when I choose the greenest one, I expect that everything will be back to normal. But I say, oh, well, no.
That could be a misunderstanding in that it was a publication.
Absolutely. Then they will have a surprise here with our exhibit, which is just nice. Because a visit here at Experimentarium may very well give people some surprises which is new to them.
Okay. Let's look at these screens.
Yes.
We've got some precipitation for plant growth in millimeters per day.
Yeah.
But what is the scenario for this?
After this screen, this is we are already now in 2100.
Yeah.
What has happened up to this moment is that we here for a year from 2009 we have showed how things are changed according to the normality. So what you see here is I think what's changed here. Yeah. What you see during the animation is an expected pattern. But of course, take care. You can't, by this expected pattern, say that in precisely 2051 the pattern is exactly this. But the tendency is simulated in this climate model which we have.
It's a warning what expected to happen under certain circumstances.
Yeah. So the interesting thing with the maps, instead of just showing a graph, which we do as well, is that on the map you can see that inside here, in this case Europe, that it will be very different. Like the last picture here, where we see that the precipitation for plant growth is raised some places more than other places.
And you have a picture for 2009 or 2004?
Exactly. That's what we have. We go up here and we make it run.
Yeah.
In fact, of course, what is precipitation with plant growth? This is the precipitation minus what is evaporated.
Yes.
Maybe somehow it's the less interesting of the 4 parameters. We have the summer temperature, annual precipitation, and here where we just take the annual precipitation and take away what. But the interesting thing about having this picture still with us is in fact that drought, which is somehow more complicated phenomena than what we can show here. Drought is in fact very, very interesting phenomenon, especially when we talk about Southern Europe in the future, and many major rest of the world, many major grain growing areas. Yeah.
Now it's fallen off the screen again, but would we also have a large increase in temperature?
Yeah, well, what you see actually, let us just come back here. What you see now is the worst scenario. Here you see the summer. We have chosen here to have the summer temperature here.
Yeah.
Here I can see that the tendency in Europe, you know, in average the global temperature is right now around 14 degrees.
Yeah.
In Europe it is 17 degrees. We are blessed with a more mild climate. And as you can see, the tendency is that we are going towards something around 21 or 22 in the worst scenario.
It's a 25% increase in temperature,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And when you say the worst scenario,
it is one of the more pessimistic IPCC scenarios we have chosen.
what is that based on?
It is based upon the assumption, as you see it here, that the global temperature will increase by 4.5 degrees Celsius.
And that is partly caused by this rather large increase in
exactly
CO2
in CO2 in the atmosphere.
Well, more than a doubling of from 375
yeah, exactly. To exactly,
yeah.
and that is a scenario which is likely if we, roughly spoken, don't do anything more than we would do anyway.
Okay. The next question then is, if this is correct in 2100,
yeah,
and if the COP15, the protocols we expect in Copenhagen in December,
yeah,
if they are good for the climate,
yeah,
and it takes time to go through the whole system, how long do you think it will be before we have a reasonable solution?
But now you're asking about the political process, which is maybe a little bit outside my field. But yes, generally what the EU is trying to do here in the conference in Copenhagen to December, it is they will try to link up the rest of the world society and to go for the 2 degrees scenario. That's basically their idea. And of course, time counts, but of course still, there's a small increase of temperature every year. The concentration of carbon dioxide are increased. But of course, if the political process takes 1, 2, 3, 4 years, that's maybe not the big problem, just that they will make durable and lasting political solutions in some years' time.
And how do you think we, as a public, will react? Do you think that we will suddenly see the need to save on energy and do it ourselves, or do you think we will be pushed into it for a combination? Push into it through taxes, for example.
I definitely think that a combination will be the issue. Again, it's of course a political point of view, and somebody will know much more than I will. But I'm sure that voluntary means, history has shown that it cannot stand alone. Really not. And you have to imagine that in third world, the general level of understanding is of course not as here in this kind of part of the world. So it's so essential that there are both push effects and push and drag effects. Yeah.
Poul Katler, thank you.
You're welcome.